Good morning and welcome to Smart Impressions. I'm Rachel and I'm so excited you're here. If you're feeling like work is taking over my life, then this show is for you. So I can't wait to get into this conversation by someone that the Forbes calls the UAE #1 executive coach. Pretty big title. So welcome to the show, Dr. Corrie Block. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm so happy to be with you.
Thanks so much to be here. We call this show Unlocking the Power of Neuroplasticity for Fulfilling Work Life. And I want to just jump right in there because I think a lot of challenges that people have is how do I maintain a work-life balance? Because we know in UAE, you work hard, play hard. And most people are really working a lot, right?
Yeah. Well, look, work it's not other than you and it's not all of you. I think work-life balance is a myth. I think it's something that we made up in the 1980s so we could dehumanize each other and turn each other into resources so that it wouldn't hurt so much if we just cut you out of the economic tribe. But our ancestors for the last million years earned us the right to be born by adding value to the tribe. And what you did for the tribe is who you are to the tribe, which is why when you meet someone, even in Dubai now, after they ask you what your name is, what's the second question?
What do you do?
Yes. Yeah. Why is that the second question? Why is it not, what are your values? What do you do for fun? How many kids you have? No. What do you do for work is who you are in society. And until I know you better, that's who you are to me. Right? So your work isn't other than your life. And the idea of work-life balance is this stupid psychological trick that we play on each other to try to convince you that your work is something other than your life, but it's not. Your work is fully half or more of your life. And I think anything that any apex predator does with half of their life every day should be as meaningful as possible.
Amazing. I love that. And listen, we have these conversations around us that are talking about find fulfillment, do what you love and never spend a day working in your life, right? What do you think about those messages? Because, I feel like people aspire to get there. Is it possible?
Yeah. Well, absolutely, yes. But they're taking the wrong path. You're taking the path to happiness. And I think happiness, God bless us in the UAE for our addiction to happiness, but happiness is a distraction from fulfillment. Happiness is probably leaving you unfulfilled. If you want to be happy, there's only 4 neurochemicals involved, right? There's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Okay, so if you want to be happy, eat a Big Mac. Any combination of sugar, fat, and salt is going to make you happy. Scroll Instagram because it's an easy drip feed of dopamine. You want to be happy? Eat a Big Mac, look at Instagram, you're going to be happy. But that's not going to leave you fulfilled, right? Like if I look at my history, for example, I use myself as an example. I've started and exited 5 companies. I've buried 2 others. I've survived bankruptcy a couple of times. I've raised 5 kids, published 7 books, finished 4 postgraduate degrees. None of those things made me happy while I was doing them.
Right.
Okay. It's 15% pure joy and 85% really hard work. And that is what makes it fulfilling. The climb up the mountain isn't fun, but the top of the mountain is only fulfilling if the climb was really hard. And the harder the climb is, the more fulfilling the top is. And so I think what's happening now is we're distracting ourselves from fulfillment with happiness.
I love that. I mean, I love the idea that there's a hard work and then that fulfillment is based on the achievement of getting over those challenges and hard work. But what do you say to a person that's unhappy with work in general? Like, what do you tell them? They're in the wrong job.
Maybe, but maybe not. If there was a way for you to improve your love of your work and the meaning you found at work without changing your job, would you do that? Because I wrote a whole book on that. It's called Business is Personal. There's a lot of different principles you can use. The biggest one is get rid of the what. What you do for work doesn't matter. Actually, most humans, most of the time, will collect garbage and be perfectly happy if we like the people that we're doing it with and we know why we're doing it. So get clear about your why and get clear about your who, and then the what will kind of disappear because nobody wakes up in the morning passionate about what they do. Okay? You don't wake up in the morning passionate about Excel spreadsheets or PowerPoint presentations or design work or whatever. It's not the what of your job that you're going to be addicted to, right? It's the who. If you're connected with the people around you and you have fun with them, what you do for a game doesn't matter. And every economic game is arbitrary, right? We made up all the games and we made up all of the rules for all of those games. A case in point is football, okay? Football is an arbitrary game. People kick a ball around on grass while other people try to kick it in the other direction. It's the most ridiculous thing, but it's $1 trillion economic game and it feeds hundreds of thousands of families every year.
And
It
people
doesn't
love to
have,
watch it. Yeah, based
yeah,
on the
people love to
environment that
watch
they
it.
watch it with. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you think the Premier League players are waking up excited about kicking a ball around on grass again today? You think Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi are thinking, "Oh my God, I can't wait to play around with my football"? No, no, it's even for them. It's not the what, it's the who, it's the team, and it's the game, it's the winning, it's the crowd, it's the energy that you get, and you can get that from something as simple as kicking a ball around on grass. You can probably do it from balancing a spreadsheet.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, how easy or how you're sitting here in this space helping leaders and people really redirect their rewire how their brain actually is functioning. But how
Yes.
difficult is it? Because it's kind of like that unknown. Like, can I just say affirmations every day and it's going to change? Is it that simple?
No, no, you can't. And affirmations are crap. I'm so sorry. From a neurological perspective, your brain has a bullshit meter on in the front of it where, like, if you're saying I'm happy, I'm rich, and you're actually not happy and you don't think of yourself as rich, it just isn't going to do anything. It's actually going to add cortisol. It's going to create more stress because you're lying to yourself. Okay, so affirmations don't work. What does work is associations. So from a neuroplastic perspective, what fires together wires together, what fires apart wires apart. So if you can associate what you're doing with something else that makes you happy, like what you're doing today, even if you don't enjoy the what, if you can connect that to the quality of life that you're earning for your family, to providing education option for your kids that you didn't have when you were growing up, to earning your way to a sports car or a vacation or retirement at a decent age, if you can connect what you're doing now that doesn't make you happy with some sort of goal association that does make you happy, then you're going to start to produce serotonin in your brain, and you don't need the affirmation. The affirmation isn't going to help you. And yeah, look, intentions are necessary in order to drive behavior, but intentions by themselves are useless. Intentions they only feed you. They're only interesting to you. Nobody else in your life will ever consume or view a single one of your intentions. So if all you have is just these good intentions and they don't change your behavior and they don't change your activity, they're not going to be useful to you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, this is why, I wanted to bring you on because I think, you study the brain and understanding how it's work and how it
Right.
functions to be able to redirect and rewire so you can start building those new patterns, habits, and I guess like roads so that you can actually
Yeah.
function better, right? And
Yep.
and that's what I want our community to listen to. I want them to hear. And so if you have any questions for Dr. Corrie, please do jump on, message us now. Let's get involved in a conversation because we're surrounded by these messages. We're surrounded by a lot of negativity as well. So
Yeah.
you could hear people complaining at work, complaining about work, complaining, and that's not good for anyone. So whether it be a personal internal fear, traumas, or any kind of emotional response to their environment, like how can people, perhaps like get past those past experiences, and get through to the next level and really find something more fulfilling. So I love that you said why and who, but I'm sure you're surrounded by them as well.
Of
People with
course.
negative
Yeah, of
comments.
course.
I'm
And
a bad
even like,
boss, right?
the majority of my clients are CXOs, right? They're C-suiters in large organizations between 5 and 100,000 employees. And even they have significant imposter syndrome and traumas that they have to deal with, but I deal with them differently. I'm not a therapist. If you're broken and you need to be fixed, go get a therapist. That's not my job. My job is a coach, right? If you're talented and you think you might be an Olympian, then we can talk. Okay,
Right.
that's my job. But all of the neurology, all of the psychology that I've learned is to drive performance, not to heal past wounds. So my approach to trauma is very different than that of a therapist. I'm not going to dig up your relationship with your parents, and I don't care what your preferences are in the bedroom. That's not my issue. My issue is your performance today and ongoing when you step in the game. So I use neuroplasticity to hijack your trauma. And so I've been really, really successful with significant childhood abuse, significant emotional, long-term emotional trauma and damage, significant phobias. But I use totally different protocols to do it because I don't go back and root out the history. I simply hijack the trauma and reassociate it with something else so that when the trigger is hit at the amygdala in the back of your head, it doesn't trigger the same network of trauma and cortisol and adrenaline and fear that you're used to. It starts to trigger something completely different. It seems a little ridiculous, but it is incredibly effective. It is effective quickly. And then just imagine never ever feeling bad about that trigger ever again, because I do that. I've done that for others. I've done that for myself.
I love that. I think everyone that's listening should get it done. I mean, if you need your brain hijacked, all that negative stuff, I mean, Dr. Corrie is the one to do it. So don't hesitate to reach out. Listen, there is no doubt, like Gabor Mate references, that the most successful people are the ones with the most trauma. I love that. You know, I've had my own trauma. I don't want to go into it now, but I think you're probably coming across a lot of high-level C-suite guys and girls that have trauma, come from trauma, and then, you know, use that to really enable them to go that much further. So I love that that's a catalyst.
Yeah, we're all very, very human, right? None of us are gods. I think one of the most unfair things that we have in the executive class is this expectation of godlike presence. Like CXOs are never allowed to make a mistake. Well, who doesn't make a mistake? Someone who's not trying hard enough, or a god. Like, those are the only options. If you're not making a mistake, it's because you're not running fast enough to be on my team, for sure. Or you might be a god, and then I'm going to have to worship you, and that's awkward for everybody. We're going to have to renegotiate the nature of our relationship. I don't want to do that. So instead of that, let's just deal with the fact that everybody, right up to the CEO, is a human, and humans have issues. Humans are messy, weird. We're wonderful, creative, and loving too, but we're also kind of terrible and mean and selfish. And if we acknowledge all of those things, we can put all of those things to use. But this idea that you can fix all of your weaknesses and become the perfect leader, that starts with the assumption that with enough time and effort, you might become a god. And that's a false start. Okay. So we plug our weaknesses with other people around us whose strengths complement them, first of all, and we trust them. That's how we plug our weaknesses. We don't need to solve that for ourselves. Then we capitalize on our strengths. We take what we're really good at and we become Olympic at it. We become world record breaking experts and executives at that.
It's blowing my mind, this conversation, because you've mentioned so many different things that we never learn in school, and we don't learn in our professional career, and we have to go out and find this from our own resources and connections. And I'm so glad I ran into you at this awesome top leader, award, that we all actually were around recently, and I got the opportunity to really bring you in to discover, at least uncover a little bit more of what you're specializing in and how you're impacting leaders of today. So we run out of time really quick, Dr. Corrie, and I want to make sure that everyone listening leaves with at least 3 things that you think they should be prioritizing, or at least creating into their life, and really practical tips that they can implement. And I don't want to repeat the why and the who, but I do want to stress those points, because I think that's one of the best things I got from our conversation so far. But what are three tips that you want to give our audience today?
First one is a mindset shift. Understand that you're an apex predator. You're the latest iteration in 10,000 generations of a successfully improving survival and adaptation machine. Plus, you live in the most abundant time in all of human history. We have more technology, communications, opportunities now than has ever existed before. Your lifespan is probably increased by 10 years since you were born. So you're going to be fine. Whatever the world throws at you, you've got this. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, we live in the most complex time in all of human history. So imagine that today is the least complex your life will ever be until you die. It's not going to get simpler than this. So you need tools that your ancestors did not give you, because their lives were simple. Their lives didn't involve 4,500 human interactions every day, which is what you are averaging now. You need new tools for that. I have some tools. The first one is just a dump list. Make sure you have a place, digital or physical, to get everything out of your head, because your prefrontal cortex gets bottlenecked really quickly, and that's when you start to get overwhelmed. Get everything out onto paper. Get everything out into a laptop or something. Number 3, if you think you might be an Olympic athlete in whatever it is that you're doing, get an Olympic coach. That's how they get there. That's how they stay there. In every major domain, the top violin players, surgeons, and athletes, they all have coaches. And it's the same with the CXOs and the FTSE 100 and the Fortune 500. So if you think that you have Olympic level talent, then go get a coach.
I love that. Those are 3 tips from Corrie. We got mindset, we got use some tools, use some paper, or write it down and get a coach and get some, support to really catalyze and jumpstart where you need to be and where you need to be going if you are doing something great. And I love that, Dr. Corrie. I can't thank you enough for taking time with me today. I can't wait to share this show with everybody. And I hope that it does create ripple effects in people's lives so that they can try to make efforts to really change their mindset of where they are and how they're working so they could be more fulfilling. So thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Really, I know you're working on a book. Next one, it's all about leadership. I want to let you get back to doing that book. I know you already have a book that's out that people could use as a tool. So I just want you to plug it really quick. Where can they find it?
Oh, can I get it? It's just here.
Yeah, sure. Get it.
I
love learning. I love information. So share it, please. Good. Please.
I've put a link in the chat. It's a free 20-minute mini course for people that think they might be in the market for executive coaching, but don't really know much about it and don't want to ask an executive coach because it's embarrassing. So it's a disambiguation course. Feel free to offer it to your people if you want to. You don't have to. The book is Love at Work, and it's on Amazon. It's everywhere where books are sold.
And I think everybody aspires to love work while they're working. And I love that you're helping us find that love. So thank you again. I hope you guys have enjoyed this show. That's Smart Impressions for today. We're unlocking business relationships one connection at a time. If you could be more fulfilled, the people you connect with are more happy and they want to work with you. So enjoy. Have a fantastic day. And I'll